today's history revision. Today we are going to be revising several topics in history. So sit back, relax, and get ready to be reminded. Let's talk about chronology. Chronology is the arrangement of events from the oldest to the newest. We can use a timeline to understand chronology better. Look at the screen and see a timeline of somebody's life. It starts from when the person was born, and the person now is 11 years old. We start arranging events from the oldest, which is the day she was born, to the newest, so I guess she's about 11 years today. All right, let's remind ourselves about sources of information. Remember, a source is where we get something from. So a source of information is where we get information or stories from. Some sources of information about the past, because you weren't there in the past, you get information from books, pictures, diaries, letters, people telling us about the past, newspapers, videos. Like I told you, you know about how chubby you were and how cute you were as a baby because mommy told you about it. So mommy is a source of information. Do you remember we divided information into two? We have the primary sources of information and the secondary sources of information. So we can divide the information into primary sources and secondary sources. The primary sources of information is a piece of evidence created by someone who was there at the time of the event. It's created by a person who was there when the information or when the story actually happened. You have to have been there. And examples are letters, diaries, government records, autobiographies, artifacts, computer software. While secondary sources of information were information or pieces of evidence created by someone who was not present when the event happened. Examples include newspaper articles, textbooks, biographies, encyclopedias, dictionaries, atlases. Now, sometimes I can be the one that wrote the newspaper article. Maybe I saw it myself, then I went and wrote it in the newspaper. Then that will make me a primary source of information. But if I wasn't there when it happened, I am a secondary source of information. Do you remember our discussion on old school supplies? Well, here are some examples. Here's an old sharpener, an old calculator. Remember that things around us have changed because of, you said it, technology. Technology is using knowledge to make new tools. Wow, look at this old notebook and old lunchbox and bottle. The past was really, really interesting. Things look so much different now. It isn't just our school supplies that have changed because of technology. Even our household appliances have changed over time. Look at the old broom and the new one. Take a look at the old cooker. And this is what we used to cook now. I'm sure most of you have this kind of cooker at home. How about the telephone? It used to look like this. I had this kind of telephone at home when I was a little girl. But now it's moved over to this mobile phone. Take a look at how classrooms looked about 50 years ago. What do you notice about them that makes them different from today's classrooms? Well, I'll tell you what I notice. The classrooms are a bit dull and brown. They're not so colorful. I also notice that the furniture is made of brown wood. The wood isn't even painted beautifully. It's just left to be brown. I also notice the children sit very crowded, very close to each other. There's not enough space or room to move around. What else did I notice? Oh, there's something I noticed. The children are well behaved. They're raising their hands before they speak. This is a classroom in the present. Compared to the old classroom, there are some differences. First, the furniture is colored, it's not brown and dull. I can see some computers. The tables have a nice design. Yes, this is a present classroom. I like it. And this is what a classroom in the future is going to look like. Wow! I wish I get to sit in a classroom like this. Moving over to houses. A house is a place where families live together and work. There are different types of houses. Here are just a few examples. I can see a hut, a detached house, a semi-detached house, a castle, a flat or apartment, bungalow, a teepee, and an igloo. Can you think of some other kinds of houses that I didn't mention? Well done! Here are some homes or houses in the past. The houses we live in now look a bit different, don't they? Interesting. Here are some houses in the present. Some of us live in houses that look like this now. I like them, really looking lovely. And these are some houses in the future. Wow, don't they just look wonderful? I really wish I can live in this kind of house. I'm going to show you some more examples of future houses. Here's another. And another. And another. This is actually underwater. Wow. And this is the last one I'm going to show. Guess where this house is? It's in outer space. Wow. Would you like to live in a house like this? I would. Houses in the three eras, past, present, and future, have differences and similarities. Take a minute to read what's on the screen. Let's talk about sources of water. Remember, I told you a source is where we get something from, so a source of water is where we get water from. We can get water from a stream, a tap, a borehole, a lake, rain, well, and many other sources like rivers, like oceans, and so on. Now, when we were talking about the types of houses, the past, present, and future, I'm sure you realize that each type of house will have a different source of water. Houses in the past would not have had taps. No, they didn't have the facility, they didn't have the equipment, they didn't have the technology to own taps. I'm sure houses in the past would have used sources of water like stream, rain, well, but houses in the present use sources of water like tap and borehole. Now, all of us have boreholes at home, just that we don't see them. Boreholes need electricity. That is why houses in the past could not use boreholes, because there was no electricity in the past. Now, the way we move from one place to another, which is transportation, has also changed. These are old forms of transportation. Just take a look at them. I don't think we use any example of these transportations these days. I can see a penny farthing. I can see a horse and carriage. I can see old boats, old planes, old trains, old cars. Interesting pictures. But they've changed. Look at the old car. Now it's been evolved to the new one. the old plane has evolved to the new plane. Technology has caused the old bus to evolve to this nice new bus. And penny farthing, the bicycle with a strange big wheel, has evolved to this nice bike we use now. Did I tell you about future means of transportation? Well, here is one. Awesome! Here's the bus I showed you in school that can climb over traffic. This is another future means of transportation. Let's look at toys. Who loves toys? I do. These are some of our present toys. Hatchimals, beautiful. I'm sure the boys in the house would love this. This really looks like a nice, fun toy to play with. These are our present toys. But children in the past also had their toys that they played with. Let's take a look at some of them. They look quite different from what we play with now. Here's a picture of a group of toys. They don't look really interesting to play with, do they? They're just brown. I can see a doll. I can see a hoop, a stick, a yo-yo. Aww, they never really made their toys so colorful. These toys were played with by children 20, 30 years ago. Can you see an old toy that we still use now? I can. I could see the Rubik's Cube. Girls, do you like this toy? This was used by children about 100 years ago. This was their own beautiful little doll. Ha 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 ha. And here's another doll. Show this picture to Daddy. I'm sure he will know how to play with this toy very well. These are old toys. And finally, we're looking at boys' clothes in the past. This is how boys dressed. Interesting looking, aren't they? Little girls dressed like this. About 150 years ago, that is. Here are some more beautiful dresses for girls in the past. Can you believe children wore these clothes to school? This was their school uniform. Wow, it must have been really heavy and uncomfortable. But I guess they had to wear it. Here's a picture of the corset I taught you about. Remember, ladies in the past wore corsets. And these corsets were made of, you said it, whale bones. Here is an example of our present clothes. I think I prefer the present clothes. They look way more comfortable. We have come to the end of our history class. I hope you enjoyed it. But before we go, I just want to remind you what the Bible says in Colossians chapter 1 verse 16. How God is the creator of everything, and everything that has been created through Him. Yes, because He gave us the ability, the knowledge, the wisdom that human beings use to create other things that around them that they need, like cars, like trains, like planes. God gave us His creative ability because He loves us so much. I want us to keep loving God and keep serving Him because we serve a very good God. All right, my children. Bye for now.